Greetings and welcome to the latest episode of Preserve the 80s. A while ago I mentioned how I was planning to do more cooking style videos on the channel, what with the prices of fast food going up as they have, and so forth. So far I only did the pork chop video, but today there's going to be another cooking video. We're going to be doing Cornish hens. Cornish hens are small, they're a bit like a personal sized chicken. So if there's two people, you should make two of them. They are typically sold in 2-packs, as you'll see right here. And just to start out, here are all the things that you will need. You have your 2 Cornish hens, salt, pepper. In here there is an onion, which will come out later. Garlic that you're going to want to mince up a bit, coarse sea salt, garlic powder because you can never have too much garlic, celery salt, rosemary, basil leaves, some just plain regular salt, black pepper, and then you also see these red potatoes here. Maybe you don't, but I think you will at the moment. Typically you want to have 3 or 4 of them per person. They will cook in the roasting pan alongside the hens, which I have not taken out of their packaging yet. That will be done a bit later. But one other thing that you will need: olive oil. I had been debating with myself as to whether or not I should include the chopping of the onions and garlic in this video, but I'm going to do it just so you can see each step of the process. It's not going to be that impressive of a feat. Usually you're going to want to do a whole yellow onion. This is kind of half of a red onion. Well, actually no, this is the yellow onion. It's a yellow onion in pieces. Parts that were used for various things, all above board. I assure you there's nothing wrong with these onions. But you just take your onion and get it onto a cutting board. See if I can do this without blocking your view. And just get it onto the cutting board like so. And just proceed to slice it. Oh, don't drop it on the floor like I just did. And then, once you have your main slices done lengthwise, just sort of cube it up. You don't want to go too big or too small on the onion pieces, because what these are going to do is that once we get the roasting pan out, these are going to be placed in the roasting pan under and around the Cornish hens, and as they cook in the olive oil, the onions kind of dissolve a bit and they just kind of soak up a lot of flavor, and you get a nice broth to baste the hens in while they're cooking, and the hens just absorb the flavor from the onions too. So that's why we are doing this, and these onions will be joined by some garlic. Other reason why I didn't go with chopping up the vegetables beforehand, just taking them out of a container, is I felt that would create a bit of a Lorne reality show feel. That's not the angle I'm going for. After all, we're not making pot pie today. So I will chop the onions up a bit more finely later on. When it comes to the garlic, often you're advised only to use a few cloves. I'm dropping everything today. Only to use a few cloves, but I always use at least 6 to 8 for this recipe. And as previously stated, these garlic cloves are going to These garlic cloves are going to sit with the onions to form a nice base for us. One trick that there is when you're cutting up garlic is you can kind of mash it down with the knife, let some of the liquid out, and then that lets the flavor kind of come out a bit more to express itself a bit more heartily and so forth. These garlic cloves came from ShopRite. They were pre-peeled, so it takes a lot of annoyance and frustration out of the process. But if you have a regular bulb of garlic with the skin on, one quick way to get rid of it is to take the knife, just hold it flat and press down. That'll crack the skin, and then the garlic clove will be quite easy to remove. I won't bore you with showing you all of the garlic and onion slicing because there's nothing more to gain from watching me do the rest of it. So I will join you when it is time for the dry rub to be prepared. Farewell for the moment. We are now ready to prepare the dry rub, and I forgot to introduce it in the opening scene, but paprika is also needed. Dry rub has 8 ingredients to it. Well, actually 9, because some of the garlic that I chopped up earlier will be going in here. There's really no set measurement for how much you need to use. Just do whatever feels right, and this is pretty much as long as you follow the basic outline of what I'm doing, your Cornish hens should turn out okay. But you don't need to really measure exactly. You just sort of, as I said, do what feels right. Added benefit here is that you don't have to bother with cleaning up the measuring spoons after and having them drop once you're done drying them, and they clatter on the floor and you have to pick them up and wash them again, and it's a maddening cycle. So I prefer to just skip it and just do the dry rub by feel. Just remember these ingredients: paprika, celery salt, rosemary, basil leaves, coarse sea salt. We'll be a little bit more careful with that. Ground black pepper. And then just a touch of regular salt as well. Then you just sort of mix it about like so, or you can stir it with your hands. You can basically do whatever you want. Though I would recommend using a bit less rosemary than I did. I think there's a bit too much of that in there. But ultimately, once the dry rub is complete and you're ready to start cooking, you're going to want to rub it all over the exterior of both chickens as well as on the, well, Cornish hens. The exterior of both as well as the interior of both. So, have to put a little bit more together to make that more workable. But we also have to get the garlic in there, which I'm about to do. To make the dry rub stick a little better, coat the hens in olive oil, and also in a bit of I'm getting a call. I'll answer it quite soon because I'm almost done with this segment. Where was I? Oh yes, you want to coat the hens in melted butter and olive oil. Helps the dry rub to stick a bit better, and it gives the skin a bit more of a crackly, satisfying taste when all is said and done. Again, you don't have to do that. I would recommend at least doing the olive oil. You can skip the butter if you don't want to have the butter in there. But that is what I recommend doing. And here's the garlic that's going to be added to the dry rub. Just take a knife like so and all that garlic go in there. What I should have done was use my garlic mincer. I forgot that I had one, that will save you a lot of time that I wasted on cutting the garlic, but that's why I didn't film it. It takes up a lot of time and nobody wants to watch me cut garlic, not even me. So I will join you when it is time to start rubbing the dry rub onto the hens. Now, as you may notice if you look at the clock, quite a bit of time has elapsed since between making the dry rub and getting the chickens prepared, which I'm about to do now. That is because I forgot the butter. Butter had to be purchased, but I have it here. You want to soften it a bit, which actually I forgot to do. I'm going to put that in the microwave now, just for a period of about 10 seconds. Should get you where you need to go. And meanwhile, you'll have your oven preheated to 425 degrees. Let's see if this butter is properly pliable yet. And it's getting there, but we want to get just a bit further. Give another 5 seconds. You want it to be soft so you can mold it with your hands, which we have reached that point now. So what you're going to want to do at this point is add olive oil to your roasting pan. I am very bad at holding things such that they can be visible because I'm trying to look at it in my phone as I'm doing it, but you definitely want to have the whole bottom surface covered of the pan, which I have done. It could use a bit more olive oil than that, which is not a problem because we have another bottle. Olive oil is very expensive these days, but if you go to Aldi and buy this brand, Carlini, you can get 4 or 5 of them for a pretty good price, and it'll get you through a month or two. So now we're going to add the onions. I should not cross that, actually. We are going to add the onions and garlic that we chopped up before. You kind of want them to surround the pan. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the angle right for this, but just basically make a ring around the pan so we can place the Cornish hens in the middle. And when you make your Cornish hens, and here they are, when you're opening up the package, one thing that you need to be prepared for is the fact that there's going to be a lot of fluid coming out, mostly blood, some water. So just do it in the sink, be prepared for that. A pair of kitchen scissors will get the job done. So now that we have our Cornish hens, we're going to first coat them in olive oil. That's number 1. And number 2. Then smear some butter around them. Get some of the butter inside too. This helps to crisp it up a bit, gives the skin a nice crisp when it's cooking. I need to wash my hands, I'll be right back. And now, our dry rub, which you saw me make before. This part of the process, you need to coat the hens both inside and out. It's okay if some of it falls into the pan because it's just going to roast in there with the onions and everything else. I'm going to go inside with the dry rub. Now it's time for hen number 2. Just get that dry rub all over the exterior. And then put it on the inside as well. And then take your remaining dry rub and just pour it on top. Pat it down. And then finally, you're going to add the red potatoes. I did not film myself cutting these up as I filmed the other vegetables cutting up, and there goes another item onto the floor. But you can just kind of put them in kind of within the onions, just sort of all around that same ring that you created with your onion bed and garlic bed. Well, it's a good thing I cut up more potatoes than I needed because I'm dropping quite a lot. And then once your potatoes are in there, you want to just add a little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic powder to the top of them. You may have seen the black pepper fall, but that is convenient as that's what I needed, so I will not complain about that. And then just finish the potatoes off with, oh, I just realized you probably cannot see what's in the pan as I'm doing this. Finish the potatoes off with just a little drizzle of olive oil on them. So you should have something that more or less looks, oh, almost broke the ring light. It should more or less look like this. When it goes into the oven, you have your potatoes around there, you have your onion bed beneath, the olive oil, the garlic, and then there are your 2 Cornish hens with the dry rub. So that concludes the pre-baking, roasting step of the cycle. You can cover them in foil if you want to. Some people feel that makes it a bit more crisp. I'm not going to be doing that so that I may, every 15 minutes, baste them a bit in the juices that are created as they're baking. You want your oven at 425 degrees and you cook them for 50 to 60 minutes, and you place them in their breast side up, and you will want to take a meat thermometer and make sure that before you eat them that the thickest part of the breast registers 165 degrees or warmer, just for safety purposes. That is a step you do not want to ignore. But I did forget one thing. You need to use butcher twine to tie the legs together so the cavities more or less stay closed and that they don't dry out and lose their flavor. This is not baking twine, butcher twine, but it's a substance similar enough. And this is actually going to be the most annoying and difficult part of this recipe. Keeping the legs together, it's not an easy thing to do. They want to spread, and when you're trying to tie them, it just can become a slippery mess. So just be patient and make sure that you cut a fairly long string of rope for this. Oh, my scissors, where did I put them? Here they are. Just cut that. I did not plan this well as far as how I was going to get the angles and such, but as I was saying before, you want to, in the roasting pan, place your hens breast side up. Now we gotta tie the legs together. Let's take a length of rope. And as I warned, this will be a very annoying, slippery process, but you want to bring them around probably 2 times. And then just tie a basic knot, but see, they've managed to elude my grasp. Let's see if I can stand over here, maybe you can see what I'm doing a bit better. I just want to just get them tightly tied together here. I am notoriously bad at tying knots. It is probably the thing at life in which I am the worst, Never was in the Boy Scouts, so guess I missed out on the whole learning of knots. Well, this is going to take me a bit of time. I will not film that whole part, but you get the basic idea. You just want to tie them tight to keep the cavity closed. And once you do that, you put them in, and basically you are pretty much done from that point, apart from just having to baste them every 15 minutes. So I will finish getting these tied up, and I will put them in, and the next time you see me, or the hens, well, I guess all 3 of us, they will be done. So now we have completed the roasting of the Cornish hens. I gotta get my pot holders on correctly. This is what it all comes out to. You can see the 2 hens with the potatoes and the onion and garlic bed. A bit of a broth in there. And they'll be paired with edamame. I'll put that on the plate in just a moment, and you will see the completed meal. And here we have the completed meal. We have the Cornish hen, we have the cut up red potatoes, and the edamame. I did not show the cooking of the edamame because it was just microwaved from a frozen bag. Anybody can do that. I don't need to really demonstrate that for you to be able to do it. And cranberry juice. So I will be eating this now and then posting it, and which I guess is obvious because if I did not post it, it will not be on YouTube and this video would not be seen. So if you're watching it, that means I obviously posted it. But with that out of the way, I shall bid you farewell.